Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to Carvalho Creations, where we show you how to make haunting props and projects of your own. In today's terrifying video, I'll be showing you how to make this morbid coffin sitting next to me. All you'll need to get this project started is a little bit of scrap wood and some ghoulish imagination. So without any further ado, why don't we get in that spooky spirit and go wild with it?
All right, everyone, so today we're making a coffin. Now, originally, I wanted to do a toe pincher coffin, like the traditional diamond-shaped ones you see for Halloween. But there's so many videos on YouTube doing those. I wanted to try something different, so I thought maybe we'd do a little bubble top coffin that you would see in more of a wake now. So I kind of mocked up a design now. That's my original, obviously, but we're going to do this one here on the bottom left here. And this is the bubble top I was talking about. Now, I wanted to make it rustic, though, so it doesn't look brand new. So what you're going to be needing is we're going to be using these 1x6s. These are just regular fence panels. We're going to make most of the structure out of this. And then we're going to be needing a thicker piece of material. These are 2x2s, but you can use 2x4s just to brace everything together and make it a little more structurally sound. As far as tools, you're going to need circular saw and a jigsaw. So if you don't have a table saw or a miter saw, which would make this a lot easier, we're just going to be using hand tools today, make it simple for you guys. You're going to be needing some kind of hinge. Now, I picked these up off these old fence pieces that I was able to come across. But if you have like a door hinge or something like that, that'll work perfectly. I just wanted something that's going to kind of go with the design a little bit. And we're going to be doing a rust paint job using some acrylics, and I'll show you that later on in the video to give a faux rust for these as well. Also, we're going to be using some glue sticks and a glue gun and a little bit of EVA foam. Now, the reason I'm using the EVA foam is we're going to make, my original design, I wanted to make like an old Victorian type of cross that we can put over the top of the coffin and really make it look cool. So this is going to be a really fun build. You're also going to be needing some various lengths of screws. We're probably going to be using like 1 inch to 2.5 inch screws, depending on what we're putting together. And you'll see that later on in the video. And also, I want to use a little bit of wood dowel. And of course, I don't have it here with me. What happened to it? Anyway, it's going to be some wood dowel because I want to make handles that go on the side to give it that extra look. And again, we're going to be painting everything. The wood coffin's going to remain wood, but we're going to distress it. I'm going to show you some antiquing we can do to it as well. And then we're going to go ahead and do some faux rust and antiquing to the hinges and also the handles, just to give that really cool, spooky feeling. So this is a really exciting video. Hope you guys are excited for it, because now it's time to go wild with it. Yeah. All right, to start off today's video, everyone, we're going to go ahead and just cut our lengthy pieces. Now, I'm making the bottom first. So they're going to be 72 inches in length, and then the coffin itself is going to be 24 inches wide. And I thought the best way to do this was just to lay all my pieces on the ground and then clamp it together. And then I'm going to cut these bracers to hold those pieces together. And I'm just using my brad nailer as a placeholder. You don't need a brad nailer. You can just use screws like I'm doing here. But I had one on hand and it helps me out because I'm doing this by myself most of the time. Now for this piece too, I wanted to make sure I used wood glue for everything, so everything would just stay together for seasons and seasons. You know, this coffin ended up turning out really good. So I wanted to make sure that it lasted a long time. Also, the depth of the coffin, this base that I'm making right here, I ended up going 2 of those planks high. And that turns out to be about 11 inches high just for the base of the coffin. That's before I put the bubble top on. So these pieces on the side weren't long enough, so I had to go ahead and cut small bracers to go at the edges here. But I offset them and I used brad nailers to hold them together while the wood glue dried up. And then everything got wood screws at the end as well. So this thing is super sturdy. Again, too, when I'm doing these kind of projects, I always have fence wood on hand. I know I'm sure you guys have noticed that by now. And the reason is because I have a fencing company that's by my house, and I talk to the guys there, and they get rid of this fencing all the time. So I pick it up for free. Whenever I need a couple sections, I just go down there and pick them up. And you guys can do the same thing to help on some cash. And I mean, it's super convenient down the street, and you can just pick up fence wood. These guys install these all the time, so these are the ones they toss out. But that's perfect for the project I do because I like this old rustic wood. These are just the 2x2s I'm screwing into place, just to hold everything together and make it more structurally sound. Again, everything's getting wood glue, so it stays forever. Okay, so now that we have the base of our coffin finished, I want to go ahead and start doing that bubble top. Now, I didn't mention you're going to be needing some plywood, and I'm just using scrap plywood. It's going to be 3/8 of an inch thick, and then I'm going to cut the arcs with my jigsaw so I can lay my thin pieces of wood over the top to create that bubble top that we're looking for. So this is going to be the next step, so let's get going. Okay, so as far as the plywood pieces, I cut them to 6 inches wide by 23 inches long, and the reason I did that, even though our coffin is 24 inches in width, I wanted them about an inch shorter, so when I add the strips of wood over the top of that to create the arc, it would come out to roughly about 24 inches. Now, I had a little overhang at the end, and I just went ahead off camera and sanded that back down so it fit flush the way I wanted it to. But this is a really easy way to get that bubble top. You can also use this for like a pirate chest or any kind of domed wood, like toy box or something, if you wanted to do that as well. Now, these pieces are about 3 inches wide. For this arc, I probably could have done 2.5 and it would have been a tighter fit, but these were already pre-cut for me, so I didn't want to go ahead and do an extra step of ripping every single strip down. But if you have to do that from scratch, I'd recommend about 2.5-inch strips of wood to make that arc nice and even. Also, too, I have everything wood glued down this way, but I went ahead with some construction grade adhesive to glue everything else together at the end as well. Now, one thing I want to talk about with these hinges here, they were straight when I originally got them. So to bend that curve, I just took them over to one of my concrete steps, took a hammer to it, and just kind of slightly banged it with a hammer until I got that little nice arc shape. And all these screws, I'm actually dipping them in wood glue before I put them in, before I screw them to the wood. That way they stay for a very long time. As usual, if you guys have any ideas or something you want me to build or make, whether it be a character or just a prop for Halloween, please let me know down in the comments section below, because man, you know I'd love to bring it to life for you. Okay, so now that we have the construction of the coffin pretty much complete, now we're going to start doing the accessories. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing the big wooden dowels for the handles on the side so we can carry this thing. I'm also going to be adding some hardware to the top of these lids so I can open it up and it'll give it a little bit more style. Now we're going to get over to that Victorian cross I was talking about earlier. Now, we're going to do all that paint at the very end, and we're going to do some washes with different colors on the actual wood just to distress this and age it a little bit more. But we're almost done, guys, so let's keep going. All right, so here I'm using a 3/4 inch spade bit, and I'm going down about a 1/2 inch in that wood. Now I'm going to cut out 8 sections of these little pieces of wood that I'm drilling into right now, and those are going to work as handles for my actual handles for the wood that go on the side of the coffin, so you can lift it and carry it from that like a real coffin. So I'm cutting, these are about, I want to say 3.5 inches in length, and then I'll be wood gluing and screwing those dowels in, and then screwing that to the actual coffin itself. And the dowels, I cut them at about 7 inches in length. I thought that was a good fit for my hand to fit and give me enough space to push those dowels into the wood and glue them in place as well. Here, I just wanted to add a little bit of twine to keep my doors open so they wouldn't swing open wildly. So all I'm doing is taking a screw with a rubber washer on it, screwing it into the wood with a little bit of wood glue, and then wrapping that twine around the screw, and then retightening it all the way in so it holds in place. And it worked out really well. Now here, I didn't show the wood gluing, but I did put wood glue on the handles as well, and then I pre-drilled the holes and then screwed them in with 1.5 inch screws. So I tried to show you what the wash color was, but that was a fail. But I went ahead and I took like an espresso brown color and just kind of brushed it haphazardly all over the coffin itself to give it a darker, more distressed, like weathered look. And then I'm taking this light lime green kind of color and brushing over as well. I'm thinking more of like rustic coffin, maybe Wild West kind of style in this here. Maybe something that's been sitting and weathering for a bit. And there's no real technique to this. I try to keep it like in places that I think some of that rainwater would collect to give it this look. So I decided to use EVA foam for this cross here, and I just grabbed one of my wife's crosses off the wall to trace this over. I thought this was a cool design and be the perfect size to get that Victorian type of look. And when you're doing this with EVA foam, it dulls your blades quite a bit, so make sure you got a new blade on there. Got to cut this out so you can get the sharpest edge on here. But I thought this EVA foam would work well, so I can bend it over the top of that curve and still have that really cool look. We're going to go over this with some acrylic paints in a second here and distress this and make it look like a piece of metal. Just taking some black spray paint here, and I did a few coats on the foam because the foam isn't sealed, so it tends to soak up a lot of the paint. But just a black base coat, and then I'm just going to screw the cross directly to the top of this coffin. I thought this would be the best thing to do, and then I'm going to go ahead and take some 5mm craft foam, cut into little circles, and then just hot glue them right over the screws to cover that. And it adds a little more character to the cross as well by doing this. And I'm taking a wash here. This is just like a rust-colored brown. And then off camera, I take a dry rag and kind of dab the paint to kick back some of that really bright color. You'll see here in a second how it dulls out. And then I'm taking a copper color over that and adding another layer. Now I do the same exact tint to the hinges as well to give this look. And then I wanted like an oxidized look as well. So I went in with like a teal type of color and just dabbed that in with a rag. And then off camera, I went ahead and went with a wash, another rust wash, and just kind of kicked this color down a little bit. I felt like it was too vibrant for me. But this is it. I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know down in the comments.
Ah, there you are. And thank you so much for sticking with me until the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed our morbid tutorial. And if you did, be a ghoul and share this with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit those notification bells so you never miss another terrifying tutorial. But until next time, keep building things, stay creative, and don't forget to go wild with it. I'm your ghoulish host, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now. Don't make me get you. I'll be in your closet tonight, or maybe your drawer, or under your bed, or, in the bathroom, just chilling, waiting. Okay, latest.